Welcome to the Pro Gun live stream. Today is Wednesday, March 18th, 2026. Can't believe this month is almost over already. As usual, we'll give it a few minutes for people to join and we'll get started. Hey, Mike. Good evening, AG. Xuna 297, are you allowed to print magazines as long as the legal round capacity for your state? I believe so. They are not considered firearms. And I think that as long as the capacity falls in the guidelines of your state, I don't think they would be illegal. However, I would not recommend it. I'm not a fan of 3D printed parts in a firearm. I mean, cheap magazines are one of the main issues that cause failures. Even if they were legal, I wouldn't be walking around carrying a 3D printed magazine. You buying a $500 or $600 gun, spend the $20 or $30 on a real magazine. I used to have a 3D printer until it died. The plastic is not as strong as polymer. You're going to have issues with the springs in there. I can't stress enough. I would highly recommend you stay away from 3D printed magazines. I think the cost of the magazine is by far a better option to ensure safety and reliability. So we have some gun news I was reading through today because I always check the gun bills for every state. And Michigan, which is really surprising because they do not have a Republican governor. Looks like Michigan is on its way to becoming the 30th constitutional carry state, which is great for Michigan. Kudos to them. And now today, I saw that Michigan is also trying to put through a bunch more of pro-Second Amendment bills by removing gun-free zones and increasing places where you can carry, such as churches and bars. So good for them. I mean, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to carry in a bar as long as you're not drinking. And now in Florida, the Florida Attorney General is trying to put a bill through to allow nonviolent felons from owning a firearm. And it's a good start because, unfortunately, the current law right now prohibits all felons from possessing a firearm. And I don't think it's fair to lump them all in one category. Um, a person that was a convicted felon for white collar crime or tax evasion that was never a threat to anyone, I don't see why they shouldn't be able to own a firearm. It just makes sense to me. I mean, they just got caught. People that have firearms have done worse things. And committing a white collar crime is not like you're somebody that got convicted for shooting someone or robbing a gas station. So I really do think they need to do something about allowing felons to carry as long as they're nonviolent. That's just my opinion. And we have some more people to make go away. Like I said a week or two ago, I am not going to allow the people that try to disrupt the channel from making me engage in stupid conversations with them. We'll just make them disappear. So I don't have any other gun news, so this stream is for you guys. So if you have topics you want to discuss or comments you want to make about firearms or accessories, and we have a bunch of new people on the stream today. And we do this stream every Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock Eastern, and every Saturday at 12 noon Eastern. If you haven't done so, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications. Due to popular request, I have added, if you've subscribed to the channel, you may have noticed a new tab there called Courses. I created a new shooters training course. And that course is free to everyone. And I think the information in there is helpful, whether you're a new gun owner, a potential gun owner, or an experienced gun owner. There's always something we can learn. You know, that's a good question, Mike. I do not have a gun membership. I'll get right to you, AG. I do not have a gun membership, and to be honest with you, you have to shoot a lot for it to be worth it. I mean, some of these gun memberships are, $400 or $500 a year. I shoot at an outdoor range in Greene County. It only costs me $10, and there's no memberships there. The local gun range, I think, is $350 a year, and you still have to pay range fees. So for me, it's not worth it. Okay, AG, that's a great question. I have a boatload of magazines because obviously every semi-automatic I have has got its own magazine. And what I do to keep track of them is on Amazon, they have these heat transfer stickers that I put on the magazine base plate that says what caliber they are. For my Glocks, obviously, every magazine you pick up says Glock on them, but to distinguish the caliber, I just put one of those transfer stickers on the base plate. Yusuf, my favorite revolver by far is my Colt Python Combat Elite. As far as I'm concerned, that is the best revolver you can get. And there is a big difference between the Colt Python and the Colt Python Combat Elite. The reason the Colt Python Combat Elite is my favorite is because, number one, it comes with fiber optic front sight. Number two, it comes with G10 grips, which are absolutely beautiful. And number three, the cylinder is not fluted, it's solid, so it gives it more weight. It is very heavy, it's 44 ounces, but when you shoot 357 Magnum out of it, you don't even feel it. It is an awesome gun. I bought that for Christmas last year. AG, another thing that I do, on a lot of my magazines, what I'll do is I use Testors enamel model paint, and I color fill the back of the magazine where it's got the caliber on it, so I know which one is which. And yes, it is a pain in the ass going to the gun range because I got a box like this of magazines, and I can't tell you how many times I've gone to the range and brought the wrong magazines with me. That's why I like the 1911s and the revolvers. Don't need them for a revolver. And 1911, use the same magazine, no matter what brand it is. And you know, Mike, it comes down to also how frequently you can actually get to the range. You know, for a few $100s, like the range here, I think the cheaper rate is during the week, which doesn't work for me because I work. When I can go to the outdoor range in Greenville for $10 every time I go, you know, you'd probably have to go every week to make it worth buying a membership. And fortunately, I could shoot in my backyard, so I really don't need to go to a range. That's not a bad deal, Mike. $10 for the first 3 months and no contracts. I would definitely consider it at that rate. Yeah, no, that sounds like a good deal, Mike. And also, usually, if you belong to the gun range, they give you a discount on FFL fees. And Daddy, hello to you. Thanks for joining. Yeah, that Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 metal is supposed to be really nice. I just bought a couple of weeks ago the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 10 millimeter. That is not metal though, it's polymer, but it's a great gun. And again, I see we have some more new people on the stream, so thank you for joining us. We do this every Wednesday evening at 8 Eastern and every Saturday, 12 noon Eastern. If you haven't done so, please hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, watch as many of our videos as you can, leave comments, like them, share them. Yeah, the ammo is still expensive. Well, you know what, Daddy? No, aluminum is still good. It's still better than polymer. I'm really not a fan of polymer, but unfortunately, almost every pistol that's made now is a polymer frame striker fire. Ozzy, welcome, brother. But hey, Duke, welcome, brother. I'm old school. I was used to metal frame hammer fired guns. But, in all fairness, the polymer frame striker fired guns have come a long way in the past 10 years. And there's nothing wrong with them. And there's no shame in having a polymer frame striker fired gun. I still like the hammer fired better because a hammer fired trigger, even a bad one, is still better than a striker fired trigger. But the striker fired guns are reliable. Daddy, I'm wondering how much heavier is the aluminum frame as opposed to the polymer? And yes, I do use a dot. However, I do have suppressor height sights, so I could co-witness, and I highly recommend that you do that, because if the battery dies or the glass cracks on the dot, then you're up shit's creek. I've done a lot of reviews on Zulisi optics. I just got another one last week. For the money, they're fantastic. They're half the cost of a Hollow Sun, and in my opinion, the quality is just as good. I have a Hollow Sun on my Springfield Hellcat Pro, and I have Zulisi optics on all my others, and the clarity is just as good. The features are just as good. Okay. Another one had to make go away. Yes, the EAA 10 millimeter steel are very expensive. Yeah, that's a funny thing. You should say that, Mike. It must have been the cheap Harbor Freight tools, because I went to Harbor Freight and I picked up a set of Allen keys that claimed to have 5/64ths, and it did not work. But I wound up going to Lowe's and getting the same damn set of Allen keys with the 5/64th, and it worked perfectly. So I guess the problem really was the cheap Harbor Freight tools. I'm still surprised that Smith & Wesson used such a small Allen key, especially on a 10 millimeter. But it is what it is, and it worked. I did get my optic on. It works perfectly. I don't know. It was just really weird. I put the Allen key in from the Harbor Freight, and it just turned and turned. It didn't catch anything. Got the one from Lowe's. Turned it out, and it worked just fine. So I buy a lot of stuff at Harbor Freight, which is why I had no reservations about buying it, especially because was only going to use it for a one-time deal. But apparently that seemed to be what the problem was. I was almost at the point where I was going to just give up, but I really did want the red dot on the new 10 millimeter. So I really like that gun a lot. And uh, this is the dot that I put on it. Yes, that hollow sun is double the amount of the Zalisi optic. Oh, 2 ounces is not really a lot. Um, it's just, the even if it's cast aluminum or aluminum alloy, it just feels better than uh, it just feels better than polymer. 35 ounces heavier. Can't be 35 ounces heavier. Man, it's almost like the weight of another gun. I don't know. Could you check that, Daddy? That 35 ounces heavier just doesn't sound right. I mean, my Ruger GP 100, I think, is 35 ounces. I couldn't imagine a gun weighing that much more. And what are we talking about, Mike? 642 or 442? I don't know what you're asking me. Yes, the 3.5 makes a lot more sense than 35. Maybe you missed the decimal point. Again, I want to thank our moderators for helping us out as usual. Yes, Mike, I have a Smith & Wesson 686 and the Model 60. I love that 686. It's the same size as my Python, and I do like the fact that the 686 gives me the seventh round. Um, when you're talking about a revolver with 7 rounds, that's really about the same as some of the micro compacts, uh, semi-automatics that are only 7 or 8 rounds. So 7 rounds at 357 is a lot of firepower. And I think the Smith & Wesson 686 is probably one of the best revolvers they've ever made. Yeah, no problem, Daddy. I get messed up with specs too. I do that all the time. But like I said, my Colt Python Combat Elite is 40 something ounces. I mean, it's heavy. Most of it is because the cylinder is not fluted; it's solid. That adds a lot of weight to it. Um, but it's a big, beefy gun. I will be getting the Viper. Colt's got $100 rebate until the end of May. Like I said, I do have a few guns I'm willing to part with in order to get that. One of them is the Ruger 5.7. One is the Ruger American 45 ACP. I don't have many guns I'm willing to part with, but I am willing to part with those two. Every now and then, if I buy a high-end gun, I do get rid of some of my others that I don't really need or care about. I prefer not to. I just don't like getting rid of guns, but it's not like I don't have enough. And I did have to go buy another gun safe. All right, Daddy, thanks for joining, brother. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate that. And we are here every Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern, and every Saturday at 12 noon. Um, we do have a pretty loyal following here. We have a lot of the same people every week. So we have a lot of good dialogue and a lot of good questions, and we all learn from each other. So you have a good evening. Thanks for joining. And thank you for that. I appreciate it. And Mike, did you straighten out that problem with the cases getting all hosed up on your Smith & Wesson FPC? Hey, Chris, welcome, brother. Thanks for joining us. This is an open forum. We do this for you guys. So any firearm related, Second Amendment related, or accessory related questions or discussions, you feel free to enter the comments and we will address them. Oh, nice. Yeah, my wife and I got our permits the same time. But it's good that she got her permit. Everybody should have one. I try stressing to people, you know, yeah, it'll happen over time, Chris. You know, since Tennessee became a constitutional carry state in 2022, um, the problem is people don't get training and they don't get permits. And everybody should get a permit. Doesn't matter whether you need it or not, just for reciprocity. I mean, you know, in Tennessee, you're driving through the Great Smoky Mountains with a loaded gun and you don't need a permit. Next thing you know, you wind up in North Carolina in the Great Smoky Mountains and you get pulled over and you get in trouble for carrying a loaded firearm. So, um, you know, just because you don't need a permit to carry in your state, you should still get the permit just for reciprocity. And I don't know why people don't do it. Um, the other drawback to that is people also don't get training. Um, since you don't need training anymore because you don't need a permit, people just go to the store, they buy a gun, strap it on their hip like magic. It's going to protect them. Um, I'm all for less government restriction than more, but if you are going to carry a firearm and you're standing next to me, I want to make sure that you know what you're doing. Yeah, like I said, Chris, I get the Second Amendment thing. Believe me, I'm all for the Second Amendment, and I'd rather have less government restriction than more. But you know, firearms isn't a toy, and you know, there's a lot of people that go to the gun store now. They buy a firearm, and I could see when they go to the range and they act like a dumbass. What do I like as far as I'll get right to you, Chris. To answer your question, Jeff, Palmetto State has a new platform coming out that they addressed at at SHOT Show, and it's supposed to be. Can I explain it? It's supposed to be a modular system where the fire control group works with rifles, pistols, and you can have interchangeable barrels and slides. That's probably the coolest thing I've seen. Yes, I agree. If you want to carry, yeah, it's your right, but you really should know how to operate your firearm, right? I mean, there's uh, people that go to the gun store, they buy a gun, they don't even know how to load or unload it. I see them at the range making dumbasses out of themselves all the time. Not only not only that, they violate every rule of gun safety there is. You know, I saw those foldable shotguns and they look really cool. I just don't really know. Uh, I just don't really know how practical they are. Um, I have a Mossberg 500 Persuader um, by, I don't know, it's got an 18.5 inch barrel. And I think that's compact enough. Yeah, not only that, the other drawback of people not getting formal training is somebody goes to the gun store, they buy a gun, they know nothing about it, and then they go to the range and they shoot with their knucklehead friend who also never had firearms training. So now you have one guy who knows nothing teaching another guy. Nothing good is going to come out of that. Yeah, I was looking at those folding shotguns only because they look cool, but they're kind of pricey. And honestly, for the money, um, I got my Mossberg 500. And Dale, welcome. Thanks for joining. We're missing Jib Jab. He usually joins on Wednesday night. And Gundoggin, I don't see him either. You know, they have to come out with new stuff for SHOT Show. I mean, a lot of stuff is just cool looking. It's not really practical, but um, yes, it is a slow night. I don't know why. We get that sometimes. Some Saturdays I get 5,000 people, and um, sometimes there's 500, but it doesn't matter. I do this for you guys, even if we have a handful of people, we still do it. Sorry to hear that, Dale. Yeah, it is a great option, though, Dale. I'm sorry, Jeff. Um, I like seeing all the cool stuff. I know it's a company called Kinesium, and they make this little device that um, you can attach it to your firearm or your gun safe, and it'll give you an email and a SMS notification if your firearm was moved. And at SHOT Show, they revealed a magazine that has the sensor in it. So um, that'll also let you know if your firearm has been moved. It's a good concept. That I'd like to see, Chris, because I love my Hellcat Pro. Um, if it's not too much trouble, if you could put the link to that product in the description, I'd really be curious to see that because I love my Hellcat Pro. And what's the cost of that, Chris? I mean, there's a lot of those cool things, but I'm just curious how much it costs. And a lot of those things are really cool, but the cost is almost more than the gun. But my Hellcat Pro is one of my favorite guns. I can tell you that. Yeah, yeah, I thought so too, Mike. Yeah, unfortunately, the gun industry has to keep regurgitating new crap in order for people to buy it. So I'll have to look into that. Write this down. MCK Micro. That looks like it would be something pretty cool. I really would like to see it. Palmetto State didn't at SHOT Show announce a timeline, but that new modular system they're coming out with, where you buy the fire control unit and it'll work in a pistol, rifle, receiver, and you could change barrels and slides, is just a really cool idea. Maybe it would be really cool to be able to take the fire control unit out of your pistol and put it in a lower receiver. Be really curious to see how that works. FRT triggers are actually one of the best. They're very good quality. Yeah, exactly, Mike. It's exactly like a Lego set. Well, that's good to know, Chris. I appreciate the info. And this is why we do this stream. We all learn something from each other. And like I said, everybody doesn't know everything, but everybody knows something. And I just love the fact that we share ideas and ask questions, and that's how you learn. And I'm always looking for new stuff to review. You would think at this day and age now, though, every semi-automatic being produced, you would think would be modular. I mean, Sig Sauer started it. Ruger did it on the RXM. Springfield did it on the Echelon. You would just think everything would be modular. I'm really surprised Smith & Wesson hasn't done it. Yep, in communist New Jersey. Well, fortunately, we live in the great state of Tennessee. Nothing is illegal here. I have to check them out. MCK Micro Conversion. Definitely going to look into that. Well, you should be able to buy it in all 50 states. I mean, it's not like you're buying a short barreled rifle or anything. It's hard to say. I mean, we used to live in the communist state of New Germany, and everything's illegal in New Jersey. This bullshit 10-round magazine restriction, it's like, my buddy Louie, who usually joins the stream, was all pissed off when he bought his Springfield Echelon, and it came with 10 round magazines because mine came with 17 round. And I think I got 117 and 223, and he got all 10 round mags, which is freaking ridiculous. And New Jersey is one of the few states that, since they started issuing carry permits, they kind of lost their gun laws. How much tea do I drink in a day? This is 52 ounces, and I probably go through 2 of these a day. Unsweetened. I know I live down south, and they're all into the sweet tea, but I don't do sugar. I don't put sugar in my coffee or my tea. I drink a lot of coffee during the day, but at night I don't drink soda at home, so this is what I drink, unsweetened iced tea. And yes, this is the good stuff. Yeah, I should get them to sponsor me. I drink enough of this crap. But I don't drink soda. On a rare occasion, I'll have a soda now and then. But I mean, I used to drink Dr. Pepper all the time, and Jeremiah, no, I'm originally from the communist state of New Germany. Been in Tennessee for 7 years now, and it's my home, and I love it here. But no, I'm not from the South. You could tell by my accent. I'm not a good old boy, but I loved them. I love Tennessee. I love being here. Should have moved here 20 years ago. I don't do sugar. You, you don't need to see me all hyped up on sugar. I definitely don't need more sugar. So no, I do not add sugar to my tea, nor do I put sugar in my coffee. And I did learn to love grits since I've been here too. I love grits. And cornbread. Yeah, you know what, Chris? I was looking at the Ruger PC carbine, but instead I wound up buying the Smith and Wesson FPC. I originally bought a Kel-Tec Sub 2000, and I'll get right back to you, Chris. Yep, I agree there, Jeremiah. Even in New Jersey, when I was a kid, my mom used to make me cream of wheat, and I used to love that. So yes, when I'm down here and I get grits, it reminds me a lot about that. I'm sorry, I digress. So yes, Chris. So I went with the Smith and Wesson FPC because I started out with the Kel-Tec Sub 2000, and it turned out to be a real piece of crap. Very plasticky, and worse than that, the feed ramp was made out of polymer. So over time, it's going to wear out, and you'll probably melt it if you blast, a lot of rounds through it in a short amount of time. So, and also the Kel-Tec Sub 2000 at that time, it flipped end over end. So you couldn't have an optic mounted on it. So I got rid of that piece of crap, and I got the Smith & Wesson FPC in 9mm. And the Smith & Wesson, I believe, is 6 pounds. It's perfect. Fits in a bag. It folds down to 16 inches. It's got M-lock rails. And When I got it, it was only available in 9 millimeter. Now it's available in 10 millimeter, which Mike has one, but I will be getting one eventually in 10 millimeter. But I'm very happy with the Smith & Wesson. Yeah, I'm curious too, Ozzy, what the weight is on that, how heavy it is. I mean, the whole point of the folding carbines um, is, to have it lightweight and portable. Never heard of boiling peanuts. And it's almost 8:30. We have about a half an hour left. So anything you guys want to discuss that's firearms related, Second Amendment related products, be my guest. What city am I in? I am outside of Knoxville. Didn't realize how long of a state Tennessee is. Um, we drove to Nashville once, and Nashville's like 4 hours from Knoxville. And I thought Nashville was like the end of the state. And we were going to drive out to Nashville and then go to Arkansas. And Arkansas is a piece from Nashville. So, Gundog, and welcome, brother. I was just talking about you earlier, saying you're normally here. I do not do any long distance shooting, mainly because I'm not really a big rifle guy. Um, I do own rifles, but um, I shoot them recreationally. I don't really shoot for distance. I have a friend of mine, actually, my gunsmith, where I get my guns from, and he's called the Gunsmith. And if you go to his website, thegunsmith.net, he's got all kind of stuff. And um, anyway, so yeah, he took a rifle class last weekend, and he just showed me the certification he got, and it was the 1,000 Yard Club. So that must have been really cool. I don't know how you shoot 1,000 yards with a rifle. How do you even see your target? But like I said, I'm not really a big rifle guy, so I don't understand. Most of my rifles, I just shoot. Um, I tactical shoot with them for fun, but I don't intentionally take them to the range and shoot. I'm a pistol guy. I like my carbine rifles. Um, I thought it was really cool to, you know, that he did that 1,000 mile club, 1,000 yard thing. I just don't know how you, I just don't know how you shoot. I mean, I'm ignorant when it comes to that. I just don't know how you shoot 1,000 yards away. I mean, how would you even know where your target is 1,000 yards away? I don't know. I mean, I'm old. I could barely see the sights on my pistol. Um, there's no freaking way I'm seeing a target at 1,000 yards away. That's got to be one hell of a scope at 1,000 yards. Sounds like fun though, but if I miss your comments, I apologize. They do scroll by very quickly and I can't get them all. Also, for people that join, if I don't give you a shout out, it's the same thing. The comments scroll by very quickly. I would like to get a infrared. That's okay, Duke. Fortunately, we don't have many of them out there tonight. I was looking at some of those. Yeah, using a Chromebook will do it. I I have my Microsoft Surface Pro here, um, and I don't have a mouse connected to it or a real keyboard, so um, it's kind of cumbersome working on that as well. you know what, Duke? I have so many PCs, it's unbelievable. PC or gun or PC or gun? Well, yeah, I would definitely go with the gun. Um, Unfortunately, being I am an IT professional, I have a lot of electronic devices. Between my wife and I, uh, the house looks like NASA. Um, we have Chromebooks, we have tablets, we have iPads, we have Androids, we have laptops, we have desktops, we have little Nooks, we have Chromebooks, um, Raspberry Pis. It's yeah, you name it. Thanks, Jeremiah. I really appreciate it, brother. Thanks for subscribing, and you have a good evening. Thanks for joining us. We also don't have, I mean, I'm sure they have them. I'm just not aware of where they are, but most of the outdoor gun ranges out here, they don't really have long distance rifle. Um, but again, that when I go to the range, I very rarely take a rifle. Um, and now when I do, I take my new Henry 357 carbine because it's a lot of fun. Um, and I got a few AR pistols. What else? I built a 300 blackout pistol as well, and I have like 3 or 4 5.56 pistols. Um, I can tell you, I would highly recommend if you're doing it, to get at least a 10.5 inch barrel. I have a 7 inch barrel on some of them, the ones that I first built. And man, I got to tell you, the 7 inch barrels are long, they're loud, and the muzzle flash on that is blinding. Yeah, the 300 blackout is great. The 300 blackout is it's a subsonic round, um, and I don't really see any cons to it. Um, it's really quiet, especially with a suppressor. Um, and the nice thing about the 300 blackout is that you can use a 5.56 lower and the 5.56 magazine, and just buy a 300 blackout upper and swap them out. So that's a cool thing. There's Jib Jab. Good evening, brother. I just mentioned you before. I said we're missing Jib Jab tonight. He's usually here. Good to see you again. Glad you're doing well, Jib Jab. I'm not sure about that, Mike. I would think yes, because it's really just the barrel. So yeah, I would say that the bolt carrier group. No, I wouldn't say that. I would bet you the bolt carrier group is different. One thing that I did on Amazon, they actually have these rubber bands, are about a quarter of an inch thick, that say 300 blackout. And I bought a pack of them and I put them on my magazines because the 300 blackout uses the 5.56 magazines, and you don't want to be having 300 blackout ammo in a 5.56 magazine and shoot it out of your AR. That just wouldn't be good. Um, to answer your question there, Jib Jab, I'm thinking the the advantage is basically just personal, but the 300 blackout is subsonic, and um, the 300 blackout is ideal if you're building a pistol. Like my 300 blackout pistol has got a 10-inch barrel, um, and it shoots better because it's got a flatter trajectory than the 5.56. It doesn't go like this. It shoots flat and doesn't really have recoil. Other than that, it's just personal choice. The reason I went with the 300 blackout, to be honest with you, is because it uses the same lower receiver and the same magazine. And I bought the 300 blackout upper receiver, but I can mix and match it with my 5.56, so it's like having two guns in one. Yes, Diddy. What's your question? I really like to do one day is I'd really like to build an AR-10. Um, I just think that a 308 on the AR platform would really be badass. Um, the parts are expensive, though. I was looking at the AR-10 lower receivers, and they're like twice the price of the 5.56 lowers, but I think maybe one day I'll do that. I have a 308, and I had a feeling that you were going to do that, P. Diddy, and that's why you're going away. As I said a few weeks ago, I will no longer let people upset me. We just make them go away. I won't even engage in stupid conversation. But anyway, so the parts kit is more expensive. Not to even mention the ammo. The Brushmaster AR-10 is awesome. I have a 308, but it's a bolt action because I always wanted a bolt action gun. So I got a Remington bolt action a long time ago. But I did always want a AR platform, and I've been thinking about building an AR-10 for a long time. I may have to do that. Exactly, Ozzy. That's the whole point of the 300 blackout. It is supposed to be suppressed. It also has a flat trajectory, and it's ideal for pistols. I built my 300 blackout pistol with a 10-inch barrel, and I like it a lot. But yeah, I think an AR-10 build is in the future. One thing I was a little disturbed about, I used to buy my Anderson Precision lower receivers at my local Rural King, and they used to have them on sale for $39.99. I bought like 5 of them when I built all my AR pistols. And Ruger purchased Anderson Manufacturing, and they bought the company for the manufacturing facility, and they basically killed the Anderson Precision brand. I'm assuming Ruger bought it just to develop their own, because you can no longer purchase Anderson lower receivers. If you do, they are old inventory, but you will no longer be able to buy Anderson Precision lower receivers, and it's too bad that Ruger did that. You would think even if Ruger was using them for their own, they would still keep producing them and selling the Anderson brand, but that's their company. They could do whatever they want. And the bullet's not really that much larger on the 300 Blackout because it uses the same magazine that feeds perfectly. Exactly. That's what they should have done. They should just sell them as Ruger lower receivers. I mean, Anderson Precision's been around for a long time. And every time I used to go to my local Rural King, and when they had them on sale for $39, I used to always get one, whether I needed it or not. Whoever thought that they were going to sell the company to Ruger and have Ruger kill the brand. So I'm assuming that when Ruger built their ARs, they were probably buying their lower receivers from Anderson. And then I guess they one day said, you know what? Why don't we just buy the company? Um, but there's still no reason they couldn't do both. They could have, they could have still sold the Anderson lowers. Um, I think Anderson, for the money, was probably the best bang. I mean, I like the Aero Precision. They're great quality, and I like what they did with a lot of those things. Is you don't need to uh, use a punch. They come as Allen keys that you just screw in, but they're very pricey. Um, they're worth the money, but I mean, you're talking $39 for a Anderson Precision lower versus 150 for a Aero Precision. Ozzy, did you get to try that shot timer out yet? How fast are you now? You know what, Pezzano? That's all that matters, brother. All that matters is how it feels and how it shoots. That's the one nice thing about guns is there's one for everybody. And what one may like, somebody else doesn't, but the bottom line is what you shoot good with. Yeah, weather was cold here too, but it's getting warmer and it's going to be 83 degrees here in Tennessee on Sunday. But Ozzy, you could also use it for dry fire training. Um, I use my shot timer for dry fire training too, especially for doing drills like mag changes. And we got about 10 minutes left. So you have comments or anything you want to say, get it out there now before the stream ends. I am going to be giving away a Black Hawk belly band um, soon. Um, I'll probably announce it on Saturday. I do not have. Yes, Jib Jab. Shot timers are in my playlists. They're under accessories, but also um, you can search for shot timers because I've reviewed like 3 or 4 different shot timers and gave a demo of how they work. Um, I'll be honest with you, I have a lot of Glocks. I'm not really a fan of the 43X personally. I don't like the little tiny guns. Um, I I was gonna build a PSA micro. I built the full size dagger. Uh, Thank you for that, Duke. I missed that one. No problem there, Jib Jab. Shot timers are awesome. I'm telling you, everybody should have one, um, especially for doing mag changes or follow up shots. Uh, you know, you could set the nice thing about the shot timer is you start off doing what's comfortable, and then you can gradually um, make it faster. What's in my carry rotation? I I carry every gun I own at some point. However, on a regular basis, I carry now my Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 10 millimeter. I carry my Hellcat Pro. I carry my 1911s. It's hard to tell because I just have so many damn guns. I never know what one I'm going to carry. It depends on what I'm doing. And yes, Smoko 1911 is the best. And it's got to be in 45 ACP, hence Pro Gun 45. To me, a 1911 in anything but 45 or 10 millimeter is sacrilegious. And I like the fact that it doesn't matter which brand 1911 you buy. All the mags are exactly the same. Yep, John Moses Browning. But that's the great thing about the 1911s. Whether I'm carrying my Springfield or my Colt or my Ruger, I have the same magazines. However, for those that are new to 1911s, they can be very finicky with mags. So I carry every 1911 I own, I carry with Chip McCormick mags or Wilson Combat. And that's a good one, Jab, because I was going to go there. But I do have a Springfield Ronin 1911 and 10 millimeter. But anyway, a lot of the 1911s are very finicky, and that's because 1911s are much more precision than a Glock, say, that's got a lot of slop in it. And they're very unforgiving because the tolerances are so tight. So even on my Colt government model, I use Wilson Combat mags or Chip McCormick. And Wilson Combat actually bought Chip McCormick, so they're the same mags. But if you get a 1911 and you find out you're having problems with it jamming, I guarantee you switch to a Wilson Combat mag and that will go away. You know, Jib Jab, I'm betting you that you're a closet 40 caliber guy. A T-Sus is all right. I mean, for the money, it is what it is. It's not a Ruger, it's not a Colt, not a Springfield, but you get what you get. Yes, Mike, I crimp all of my reloads. I don't know if I told you when we spoke, but now I love Jib Jab, man. I wouldn't ban him. I think I told you when we spoke, Mike, or if not, I highly recommend getting the Lee factory crimp die because I know you can use when I reload. I don't use the seating die and crimp at the same time. All I do is use the seating die to seat the bullet, and then I use the factory crimp die. And the reason for that is the factory crimp die doesn't seat the bullet. It crimps it perfectly, and you'll never get a bulge case. I had a lot of problems doing the seating and crimping at the same time with the same die. So, yeah, good for you, Jeb. I am prejudiced with calibers, man. I really am. But we are all welcome, like church. All guns are welcome. All guns, all calibers matter. That's why I love this, man. I really love the interactions with you guys. You see, I have my pro gun t-shirts. I think I really need to. I really think I need to make an all calibers matter t-shirt now, and add it to the store. And I do appreciate the people that have purchased the pro gun t-shirts and coffee mugs. We don't make any money on them. Matter of fact, they get shipped to you directly um, from the place. We don't have anything to do with it, and they're all sold at cost. I like to just take the life set. I just think all calibers matter is cool. That's fine, Duke. I'll gladly give you $2 for every shirt. I'm gonna do it. By the time we have this stream next week, maybe even by Saturday, when when you when you go to the Pro Gun store on the YouTube channel and you see the T-shirts, you're probably going to wind up seeing a All Calibers Matter shirt. All right, guys, it is time to wrap this thing up. Again, I love doing this with you guys. I really enjoy your friendship and the interaction we have together, and hopefully you guys learn something every week, because I know I do, and it's just a lot of fun. For those people that are new, don't forget, subscribe to the channel. We do this every Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock Eastern, every Saturday. And everybody have a blessed evening. Good night to you all as well, and good night to you, Jib Jab. All right, guys, we'll catch you next time.